Breaking news from the University of Greater Manchester. A massive fraud investigation is rocking the institution. I'm here with the details on a decade-long financial crime spree that's just been blown wide open. It all started with investigative journalism. Local publication, The Mill first raised the alarm, leading to a massive forensic audit by PwC that confirmed the worst. By May 2025, Greater Manchester Police opened a bribery case, leading to the immediate suspension of Vice Chancellor Professor George Holmes. We are looking at an 11-year period of alleged criminal activity that evaded oversight for over a decade. While the official count is over 1 million, reports suggest up to £1.7 million were misappropriated. Detectives are probing 60 transactions, including luxury goods, and believe it or not, a heated dog kennel. On July 8th, over 100 officers executed synchronized warrants across 5 properties in a massive enforcement phase. 3 individuals were taken into custody in Bolton, facing charges ranging from money laundering to bribery and fraud. Investigators are now meticulously analyzing over 1 million corporate emails to map out the complex transactional networks. Assistant Chief Constable Rick Jackson describes this as a targeted phased strategy to ensure the charges withstand judicial scrutiny. This case highlights a critical lack of rigorous, independent external auditing in the higher education sector. But how do you actually hide over £1 million? Fraudsters use 4 primary methods to disguise their tracks. First, the ghost vendor. They set up shell companies that exist only on paper to submit fake invoices for consulting services. Once the university pays the invoice, the money is withdrawn as salary, effectively cleaning the cash for the fraudster. Second, kickbacks. Real vendors submit inflated invoices, then kick back the excess amount to the fraudster's private account. On the books, it looks like a standard purchase of computers or supplies, making it very hard to spot without deep questioning. Third, personal expense fraud, charging luxury travel and electronics to university cards as departmental research. By attaching a plausible academic purpose to personal lifestyle purchases, they exploit the inherent trust of the system. Finally, layering, moving money between different internal budgets to hide the original trail through interdisciplinary transfers. Forensic accountants catch them by looking for red flags like round dollar transactions and manual overrides of the system. As the investigation continues, the higher education sector is on high alert. More updates to follow as the CPS reviews the files. I'm Gala, and that was your breaking true crime report. Keep your eyes on the audits. This is the tragic case of Kimberly Thompson. With the guilty verdict delivered on July 8, 2026, it highlights a terrifying escalation of domestic abuse and a chillingly staged crime scene. Behind closed doors, Kimberly endured over 10 years of severe domestic abuse from her husband, Michael Thompson. The abuse spanned physical violence and intense coercive control. By 2025, Kim was finally taking her life back. Separated but still living together, she was finalizing a £65,000 divorce settlement and planning a visit to her daughter in the States. Obsessed with her independence, Michael planted recording devices in her car and home, secretly saving and editing hundreds of hours of her private conversations. In the early hours of August 9th, 2025, Michael entered Kim's bedroom. He raped and manually suffocated her, taking the life of a woman loved by many. Knowing he would be the prime suspect, Michael spent hours meticulously staging the room to look like a suicide, even placing a photo of Kim's sister, who had previously died. He logged into her Facebook and Snapchat, posting fake messages claiming she had drank too much to establish a false narrative before calling emergency services. But the charade fell apart. A post-mortem examination revealed 0 alcohol in Kim's system, completely destroying Michael's fabricated, drunken overdose story. Digital forensics recovered literally hundreds of hours of audio that Thompson had saved. The recordings proved an escalating, obsessive pattern of surveillance. Email timestamps also established a clear financial motive. a legal consent order for a £65,000 settlement was sent just 8 days before the murder. The investigation uncovered a chilling connection. Michael's previous partner, Rhonda Anderson, died in 2000 in a bathtub. Her death was ruled accidental at the time. Michael had used Rhonda's death as a psychological weapon, telling Kim, "You know what happened to the last person that tried to leave me?" On July 8th, 2026, after a 6-week trial, the jury took just 2 days to find Michael Thompson guilty of rape and murder. Justice was served. Because he was convicted of murder in the UK, Thompson faces a mandatory life sentence. The judge will soon establish the minimum number of years he must serve. The sentence will factor in his convictions for rape, murder, and perverting the course of justice, alongside a decade of documented domestic abuse. Ultimately, Michael's digital cover-up became the most damning evidence against him. Kimberly's story stands as a reminder that the truth always leaves a footprint. The prosecution over the murder of Tupac Shakur is one of the most significant cold case prosecutions in U.S. history. Although the shooting happened in 1996, the first criminal charge was not filed until 2023, nearly 27 years later. On September 7, 1996, Shakur attended the Mike Tyson versus Bruce Seldon at the MGM Grand. After the fight, Shakur and Marion Suge Knight became involved in a physical assault on Orlando Anderson inside the casino. This was likely the motive. At approximately 11:15 p.m., while stopped at a red light at Flamingo Road and Colville Lane, a white Cadillac pulled alongside Knight's BMW. Someone in the Cadillac fired numerous rounds from a .40 caliber handgun. Tupac was struck 4 times. Suge Knight suffered minor injuries. For decades, no one was prosecuted. Police quickly suspected Orlando Anderson because Tupac had assaulted him hours earlier. But no murder weapon was recovered. Witnesses were reluctant to cooperate, and gang intimidation complicated the investigation. Anderson was killed in an unrelated shooting in 1998 before charges could be filed. The case remained a mystery. Then came 2023. Dwayne Keefe D. Davis was charged, not as the gunman, but as the organizer. Davis was a senior member of the Southside Compton Crips. Prosecutors allege he supplied the murder weapon to his nephew. The prosecution relies heavily on Davis's own words from his memoir and numerous media interviews over many years. Davis has pleaded not guilty. His defense argues his statements were fabricated for publicity, a tall tale for the cameras. Recent rulings allowed the memoir as evidence, but the defense highlights that many historical investigative files are now missing. Now, let's reconstruct Tupac Shakur's final day, Saturday, September 7th, 1996, minute by minute. 10 a.m., Tupac wakes at the Luxor. The entourage plans the heavyweight boxing match that evening. By 3 p.m., Suge Knight arrives. The energy is high as they prepare to head to the MGM Grand. 8:45 p.m., Mike Tyson defeats Bruce Seldon in just over a minute. Tupac celebrates ringside. 8:50 p.m. As they leave, a fight breaks out with Orlando Anderson. MGM security has to intervene. 9:15 p.m. Tupac returns to the hotel, changes into black, and dons his diamond death row medallion. 10:30 p.m. The convoy leaves for Club 662. Fans recognize him as they move through Saturday traffic. 11:14 p.m. The BMW stops at Flamingo and Colville. A white Cadillac pulls alongside on the passenger side. Seconds later, an occupant opens fire. 14 rounds are fired. Tupac is struck 4 times. The Cadillac speeds away. 11:20 p.m. Paramedics arrive. Tupac is rushed to University Medical Center. Emergency surgery begins. Tupac died 6 days later. Now, 30 years later, the trial is set for August 2026. A cold case finally seeing its day in court. Allah, the world watches as the final chapter of this historic prosecution begins. Justice for a legend. In July 2026, the National Crime Agency announced a chilling discovery: an organized international network involved in drug-facilitated sexual assault. Offenders used online forums to exchange advice on drugging victims, share methods to evade detection, and even request that assaults be filmed. This isn't just a local issue. The NCA has identified over 270 individuals linked to these platforms across every continent, sparking dozens of criminal investigations. Tragically, many victims were abused by trusted partners over months or years, often unaware until digital evidence was recovered by the police. Under Project Medusa, the UK is working with partners worldwide to safeguard victims and dismantle these organized online communities. The investigation continues. Authorities are urging anyone who suspects they have been a victim to come forward, even if memories are unclear. Jordan Turpin's escape in January 2018 exposed one of the most shocking child abuse cases in modern American history. Authorities discovered 13 siblings, aged 2 to 29, subjected to years of severe abuse and imprisonment in their home in Paris. David and Louise Turpin married in 1985 and had 13 children. To the outside world, they appeared to be a deeply religious and happy family. They frequently posted smiling family photos online while homeschooling their children to maintain complete isolation from the outside world. Inside, the reality was horrific. Children were often chained or padlocked to their beds for days or even weeks as punishment. They were severely underfed, sometimes receiving only one meal a day, leading to extreme malnutrition and stunted growth. The siblings lived in filthy conditions, surrounded by waste and denied basic medical care, education, and normal social interaction. Their parents enforced a strict schedule. They were forced to sleep during the day and stay awake all night long. By 2018, the children had secretly discussed escaping. 17-year-old Jordan climbed out a window carrying a deactivated cell phone. She contacted emergency services, telling the dispatcher that her siblings were being abused and that some were currently chained to their beds. When deputies entered, they were stunned. Many of the 7 adults appeared to be small children due to years of chronic malnutrition. David and Louise were arrested immediately, facing charges of torture, child abuse, and false imprisonment. In 2019, both parents pleaded guilty and were sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole after 25 years. The siblings spent weeks in the hospital recovering. They began the long process of learning everyday life skills, from shopping to attending school. Despite further hardships in foster care, the siblings fought for justice, reaching a major legal settlement in 2026. Today, Jordan Turpin's courageous 911 call remains a testament to the power of survival and the strength of the human spirit. Ricky Harris missing person investigation, a case that has gripped South Wales for over 2 years. Despite some recent reports, this is a United Kingdom case centered in South Wales, not a U.S. investigation. Ricky Harris was 31 years old when he disappeared from the Aberdare area on the 18th of November, 2023. His disappearance has remained one of South Wales's most significant long-term missing person investigations. For more than 2.5 years, police conducted extensive searches and reviewed hours of CCTV footage. They carried out house-to-house inquiries, deployed specialist search teams, and repeatedly appealed to the public. Ricky was last seen on CCTV at approximately 2:20 p.m. on the day he vanished. The sighting occurred in the Mysie Dairy area of Aberdare, a moment frozen in time for his family. He had reportedly been dropped off near his home by his aunt shortly before he disappeared. Investigators later stated that there was no evidence he had accessed his bank accounts after vanishing. Family members said Ricky always maintained regular contact, making his sudden disappearance completely out of character. The absence of confirmed sightings and financial activity increased concerns that he may have come to harm. Then, in June 2026, investigators announced a significant development in the case. On the 12th of June, a 41-year-old man from Mountain Ash was taken into custody. He was arrested on suspicion of preventing a lawful burial and perverting the course of justice. police confirmed that this arrest was directly connected to the Ricky Harris investigation. Following the arrest, South Wales Police launched a major search of the former Furnacite industrial site. This is a large area covering roughly 150 acres, presenting a massive challenge for teams. Investigators indicated the search could take a considerable amount of time due to the complexity of the location. As of mid-June 2026, Ricky Harris remains officially missing. Despite the recent breakthrough, no body has been publicly recovered at this stage. The arrested suspect remains at the center of ongoing inquiries as police piece together the timeline. Police continue to appeal for information from anyone who may know what happened to Ricky. As the investigation deepens, 5 key questions remain at the forefront of the search. What happened after that final sighting? And was Ricky the victim of foul play? Why the focus on burial concealment? And what evidence led police to the mountain ash suspect? Will the search of the Furnacite site finally uncover physical evidence or human remains? This arrest represents the first major breakthrough since Ricky vanished in late 2023. It remains one of the most significant active investigations for South Wales Police. Anyone with information is urged to come forward and help bring closure to this long-running investigation. Coney Island 4th of July mass shooting, Brooklyn, New York. Full breakdown. On the night of July 4th, 2026, a 4th of July family barbecue in the Coney Island neighborhood turned into a mass shooting when a masked gunman opened fire on a crowd gathered outside an apartment complex. 8 people were wounded, including 4 children. What happened? According to the New York City Police Department, officers were called to the area of West 30th Street and Surf Avenue at approximately 10:35 p.m., shortly after many people had finished watching the 4th of July fireworks. Families were gathered in the courtyard for a barbecue when a gunman dressed in black and wearing a black ski mask approached and fired multiple rounds without warning before fleeing. Investigators said there was no evidence of an argument or confrontation immediately before the shooting. The victims, 8 people, were struck by gunfire. A 21-year-old woman shot in the chest, critical condition, a 25-year-old woman, a 33-year-old man, a 37-year-old man, a 14-year-old boy, a 12-year-old boy, a 7-year-old boy, a 6-year-old boy who was shot in the stomach. The 7 other victims were reported to be in stable condition and expected to recover. Police investigation investigators recovered a firearm at the scene and searched for surveillance footage and witnesses. As of the latest official update, no suspect had been arrested. Police were searching for a masked male shooter. Detectives were investigating whether the attack was connected to a gang-related homicide on the same block earlier in the week, although they had not confirmed a motive. Witness accounts. Witnesses said many people initially mistook the gunfire for leftover fireworks because explosions had been occurring throughout the evening. Panic followed as parents grabbed children and ran for cover while officers rushed injured victims, especially the children, to waiting ambulances. Official response Jessica Tisch said there was no indication of an argument before the shooting and urged anyone with information or video to contact investigators. Officials also said there was no evidence of an ongoing threat to the public, although the gunman remained at large. Current status, as of the latest reporting, 8 people injured, including 4 children. 1 victim remains in critical condition. No arrests have been announced. The motive remains under investigation. Hillside Endarasha Academy School dormitory fire. Full case breakdown. The Hillside Endarasha Academy fire is one of the deadliest school disasters in Kenya in recent decades. It occurred during the night of September the 5th, 2024, at the boarding primary school in Nyeri County, where boys aged roughly 9 to 13 were asleep in a crowded dormitory. What happened? The fire broke out around midnight inside a boys' dormitory. About 156 boys were sleeping in the building when the blaze started. Many children escaped, but others became trapped as flames spread rapidly through the dormitory. Casualties. After search, rescue, and identification efforts, 21 boys died. Dozens of children suffered burns and smoke inhalation, many with severe injuries. Because several victims were burned beyond recognition, authorities relied on DNA testing to identify some of the children before they could be returned to their families. Investigation. The exact cause of the fire has remained the subject of investigation. Investigators examined several possibilities, including electrical faults, accidental ignition, and possible arson. Authorities secured the scene, interviewed staff and students, and carried out forensic examinations. Officials later said the investigation was nearing completion, though a final public determination had not yet been released at that stage. Safety concerns raised. The tragedy exposed major concerns about boarding school safety: overcrowded dormitories, limited fire safety equipment, lack of early warning systems, questions over emergency exits, and inadequate emergency preparedness. During a public inquest, witnesses testified that there were no CCTV cameras inside the dormitories, and school leaders acknowledged shortcomings in disaster planning and their understanding of national school safety standards. National response. The disaster shocked Kenya. William Ruto ordered investigations and pledged accountability. The government declared a period of national mourning, provided counseling for survivors and families, and renewed calls for stronger fire safety standards in boarding schools. Why the case was especially significant: the fire revived painful memories of earlier Kenyan boarding school tragedies, including the 2001 Kayanguli Secondary School dormitory fire that killed 67 students. It also prompted renewed scrutiny of school infrastructure, emergency planning, and student safety across the country.